Have you ever wondered why, despite all the books you've read, affirmations you've whispered, and goals you've mapped out under moonlight, your life still feels strangely familiar, like reruns of a movie you never chose to star in? What if I told you it's not because you're not trying hard enough, but because you're trying through the lens of an old operating system? A system that was never designed to collapse the timelines you're now reaching for. You see, the problem isn't your vision, it's your vibration. And the frequency you're unconsciously tuned into is a relic of past identities, old beliefs, inherited patterns, and silent agreements you never meant to sign. Most people think change begins with action, but quantum physics and ancient wisdom tell a very different story. Change begins with observation. More precisely, the way you observe reality. Because every time you think the same thought, feel the same emotion, assume the same meaning, your neural pathways rehearse the past and broadcast it into the field. You're not just remembering the old story, you're regenerating it. You're entangled with a past version of you, and that entanglement is collapsing the same outcomes into your now. And here's the truth that stings before it frees. You can't create a new future from the emotional frequency of your old self. Not because you're broken, but because you're out of sync. But what if you could reattune? What if there was a way to shift not just what you do, but how you be? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to break the hidden paradigm loop you've been living in. Not by working harder, but by broadcasting a new signal to the field. Because the future isn't something you wait for, it's something you tune into. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why your old thinking keeps recreating old results, and how to shift so deeply, your reality can't help but follow. What if I told you that every single morning, before your feet hit the floor, you're already selecting which version of reality to step into? Not through willpower, but through your identity? And that identity isn't just mental, it's electromagnetic. It's encoded in your posture, your breath, your expectation of what today will be. Most people wake up and unconsciously step into a recycled signal. Same thoughts, same inner dialogue, same lens of self. They say they want change, but their field is still tuned to the frequency of, I am who I was. And in quantum terms, that's not just a metaphor, that's a command. You see, your brain isn't leading the show, your state is. And that state is the filter that determines which version of reality becomes solid. Quantum research has shown that particles don't become real until observed. That means what you expect to see is what you actually bring into form. But here's the kicker. You're always observing, even when you think you're just watching. Every assumption, every subtle reaction, every inner sigh of this again is a micro-observation, and those micro-observations are collapsing timelines. So if you've been thinking bigger but feeling stuck, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because your observer hasn't shifted. You're trying to manifest a new life through the nervous system of the old you, and as long as the signal stays the same, the field has no choice but to reflect it. But here's the shift that changes everything. When you stop reacting to life and start broadcasting a new self, the field reorganizes. Reality bends, not because you forced it, but because you finally matched it. So now, ask yourself, what frequency have I been unknowingly loyal to? Let me ask you something, and I want you to be radically honest. How many times have you replayed the same day with a different outfit? Woke up with a spark of hope, only to have it dimmed by the weight of old patterns, old reactions, old doubts you swore you were done with? How often have you said, "This time will be different," and yet somehow ended up back in the same energetic loop, staring at your phone, checking your bank account, scrolling for answers, feeling like the version of you who's meant for more is always one breakthrough away, just not today? It's not laziness, it's not failure, it's not even about willpower. It's about frequency mismatch. You're dreaming of expansion, while your nervous system is still bracing for survival. And that's not your fault, it's conditioning. layered over years of micro-traumas, inherited beliefs, and unspoken fears. And here's what no one tells you: you can't out-manifest a nervous system stuck in 3D fear. You can journal all you want, chant affirmations till your voice goes numb, but if your field is still coated with lack, with doubt, with "am I enough?" the quantum will faithfully mirror that back. That's why change feels so far. That's why you feel like you're doing everything right, but still running in emotional circles. But here's the crack in the wall, and it's where light gets in. It's not about effort, it's about resonance. You don't need to push harder, you need to shift deeper. In the next segment, I'll show you how to tune into a version of you that already exists. A you that's not trying to become, but simply remembers. Because the future you want isn't waiting to be earned, it's waiting to be observed. So how do you actually shift? How do you go from unconsciously recycling the past to consciously collapsing a new future? The answer is simple but radical. You must become the observer of your reality, not the reactor. This is not about pretending to be positive or slapping affirmations over old wounds. It's about stepping into a different identity and observing life from that version of you consistently. Let's start with the basics. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined event and a real one. When you visualize with emotion and clarity, your neural networks fire. Your body produces the chemistry of that experience, and your field begins broadcasting a new frequency, one that matches the future you. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work with brain scans shows this clearly. When a person holds a clear vision of their desired future and floods their body with the elevated emotions of that vision, their brain begins to look as if the event is happening now. That means you're no longer waiting for the future, you're rehearsing it. But here's the key. The shift happens when you observe your current life from that future state. Not just in meditation, but in the tiny moments, checking your bank account, opening your inbox, walking into a meeting. Instead of reacting with fear or doubt, you pause and ask, how would the future me observe this? That observation is the portal, because every time you choose to feel, think, or respond as the future version of you, you collapse that version into your now. Observation isn't passive, it's participatory. It's vibrational. It tells the field, this is the timeline I'm selecting. And the field listens. That's not spiritual poetry, it's quantum architecture. So if you've been trying to create change through effort and willpower, this is your wake-up call. The true lever of transformation isn't doing more, it's observing from the future you. And once you learn how to anchor that perspective, your entire reality starts to recalibrate, not by force, but by frequency. Let's make this real. If you want to shift paradigms, you need more than insight. You need integration. So here's one of the most powerful tools you can begin using right now. Focus repatterning. Think of it as quantum tuning. You're not just choosing what to look at, you're choosing what version of reality to give life to. Here's how it works. Every time you catch yourself reacting to something, stress, an old fear, a negative spiral, you pause, take a breath, and ask one simple question. What would the future version of me focus on right now? This may sound small, but it's everything. Because that question interrupts the loop. It halts the unconscious repetition of the past and creates a sliver of space for a new timeline to enter. And in that space, if you choose differently, even just for a few seconds, you start sending a new signal. Try this. The next time you look at your bank account and feel anxiety, don't fight the feeling. Just observe it, gently, like an old echo. Then say, that's not who I am anymore. And shift your focus, not to fantasy, but to the energy of sufficiency. Feel gratitude, feel calm. Observe your finances not as proof of lack, but as a dashboard in motion. Or when you feel unseen in a relationship, pause. Ask, how would the me who feels deeply loved respond right now? And hold that feeling, not because the outside changed, but because you did. That's the real power of focus. It's not just attention, it's activation. Your focus is not a flashlight, it's a tuning fork. Whatever you dwell on emotionally, energetically, habitually, you collapse into form. So when people say, energy flows where attention goes, they're actually describing a quantum function. Attention selects the wave, emotion collapses it, identity lives it. And the more often you shift your focus with intention, the more stable your new signal becomes. Until one day, your nervous system stops bracing for the old and starts expecting the new. Now, let's go deeper, because shifting your focus is only the beginning. If you want to stabilize in a new reality, you have to embody the frequency of that reality in your nervous system. You can't just think abundance, you have to feel what it's like to live it. And here's where most people unknowingly sabotage their shift. They try to manifest a future with the body of the past. Their thoughts say, "I'm ready," but their breath is shallow, their shoulders are tense, their gut is braced for disappointment. That's not alignment, that's contradiction. And the quantum field responds not to your words, but to your coherence. So here's what I want you to try. This is simple but profound. Sit still, breathe deep, drop your shoulders, close your eyes. Now, visualize a version of you, not a fantasy, but a real energetic identity who already lives the future you've been seeking. Not someday, now. See how they move, how they speak, what they don't worry about. And here's the key. Feel that in your body, not as imagination, but as memory, as if your cells are remembering something they once knew. This is quantum entanglement in action, because the moment you emotionally and physically align with that version of you, the field begins recalibrating. You're no longer waiting for your new reality, you're receiving it, and the body becomes the portal. Your posture, your breath, your emotional tone, they're not just habits, they are broadcasts. They tell the universe who you are. And when the inner signal shifts, the outer world can't help but respond. This isn't pretending, this is becoming. So the real secret isn't to try harder, it's to remember deeper. Because the version of you that's already living your desired life, they're not far, they're here, right now, waiting for one thing, your permission to feel like them, speak like them, walk like them, become them. And in the next chapter, I'll guide you through the exact practice that makes that embodiment real. You've come this far, so let's collapse a new timeline together. Not by wishing, not by waiting, but by embodying, right now. I want you to treat the next few moments not like a video, but like a portal, a space where frequency becomes form. Ready? Sit comfortably. Take one slow breath in and exhale. Let the noise fade. Let the identity of "I'm not there yet" melt just for now. Now visualize a mirror in front of you. But this mirror doesn't show your current reflection. It shows the version of you who's already on the other side, the one who already made the leap. They're not forcing. They're not doubting. They're grounded, magnetic, clear. Look into their eyes. Feel their calm. That's not a fantasy. That's your entangled self, already real in the quantum field. And the only thing separating you is coherence. Now, slowly begin to step into them. Let your shoulders shift. Let your breath deepen. Let your face relax. Let your cells remember. Feel what they feel. Think from their clarity. Speak from their energy. Don't imagine it. Become it. Stay with that feeling. Let your nervous system absorb it. Let your frequency stabilize. Because this moment right here is the beginning of collapse. You're not visualizing the future, you're transmitting it. And the field? It doesn't respond to hope. It responds to truth in motion. Stay here. Let this state sink into your body. This is your new broadcast. This is the identity that the quantum responds to. Not later, now. In the next section, I'll show you how to anchor this signal daily, so you don't just touch the future, you live in it. Now that you've tasted the frequency of your future, it's time to anchor it. Because one moment of coherence can open the door, but only consistent resonance keeps you inside. So here's a practice I call the focus loop method, a simple but sacred 3-part ritual to realign your field every single day. First, morning declaration. Before you check your phone, your schedule, or your notifications, ask yourself, what version of me am I choosing to observe from today? Don't answer with words. Answer with breath, posture, energy. Feel the state of the future you. Wear it like a frequency before the world gets loud. Second, midday reset. Set a reminder on your phone, anytime that feels aligned. When it rings, pause for just 60 seconds. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and silently affirm, I return to the version of me I'm becoming. Let that recalibrate your signal. Let that single moment disrupt the autopilot. Because that's all it takes, one conscious focus to reroute the field. Third, evening embodiment. Before you sleep, replay the day, not from judgment but from awareness. Ask, where did I observe from the old identity? Where did I observe from the new? Celebrate every moment you shifted, no matter how small. Gratitude amplifies coherence, and as you fall asleep, let your final thought be the energy of your future timeline. Not a wish, a memory in advance. This loop isn't about perfection, it's about pattern. Because the more often you return to the signal of your chosen self, the more stable it becomes. And when the signal stabilizes, the shift becomes inevitable. You won't have to chase proof. The field will bring it. Because now, you're not observing from who you were, you're broadcasting from who you've become. And the quantum never ignores a coherent command. Now pause and feel this moment. Because if you've come this far, something in you already knows. You were never chasing a new reality. You were remembering one that's always been entangled with you. The version of you who is grounded, free, expansive, magnetic is not a goal, it's a frequency. And now that you've tuned to it, even briefly, you've done something irreversible. You've collapsed a new timeline. You may not see the change instantly, but your signal has shifted. And when the signal shifts, the field reorganizes, not with fireworks, but with precision. Subtle synchronicities, unexpected clarity, emotions that feel strangely unfamiliar, because they belong to your future self. But this version of you doesn't need to prove anything, doesn't need to grasp, hustle, perform. They radiate, because the work is no longer in pushing, it's in being. And your only task now is to stay in signal. So the next time doubt creeps in or the old story whispers, you're not there yet, smile gently and say, that's not me anymore. Observe it. Don't argue with it. Just shift. Because you're no longer rehearsing survival. You're now broadcasting embodiment. And that signal bends reality. So if this message didn't just make sense, but resonated, if your spine straightened, your breath slowed, your system whispered yes, then let that be your confirmation, not from me, from the field. And if you're ready to keep rising in this frequency, this space isn't just a channel, it's a current, a signal, a community of entangled selves remembering who they truly are. So comment below, I shift from memory, not fear, not as a phrase, but as a declaration. And if this activated something in you, subscribe, not for more content, for more coherence, because you don't just need more information. You're ready for integration. You are the observer. You are the signal. You are the future collapsing into now. And this is just the beginning.